And good evening. Welcome to our Maker Challenge Day 5. We're going to be doing a material test today for a business card holder. I wanted a quick and easy project because the ones that I started off with have not been quick and easy, to say the least. And today's my birthday, and I would like to get to bed at a relatively decent hour. So our material tests here, we're going to be trying out these business card holders. They're this gorgeous, elegant, kind of vintage style, made of wood here. This one is a black walnut, and the other one here is beech wood. So my local Chamber of Commerce had contacted me a while back, asking if I could do business card holders that are like this, and they had an example. And I said, yeah, absolutely, but it took a while for me to find a source for it that I liked the quality of and the price of and all of that. So now I have a potential source for this, and we're going to be testing it in the laser to see how it turns out. So rather than use the big giant roll of white masking that we use for large sheets, I'm just going to use our standard blue masking tape here to put over the surface of our business card holder. So this business card holder is definitely higher than 0.05. So I've got my calipers here, and it is coming in at 1.161 for our height. For our depth, that's going to be on the bed of our Glowforge laser. So I'm going to flip over to Inkscape here and show you how I get it all set up, and then we'll put this in the machine and take a video of the machine recording. So a couple of things that we are working on adding is, you'll notice on the screen there are going to be some keystrokes. So we've got this keyboard over here, and whenever I click or do something, it will show what's going on the keyboard. Similarly, or at the same time, actually you can't see that one because this is in the way. So we'll move that up. There's also this left click, right click, Control, Shift, and so we've got some commands coming on over here. So I'd be interested to find out what your feedback is as to which one you like for showing what's going on for what I'm clicking on the screen. And because I tried to tell you what it is that I'm doing, like I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts, Control D for duplicate, that kind of thing, and don't always remember to tell you that's what it is that I'm doing. And the point of these is to help other people learn and feel more comfortable with just deciding I'm going to make something and making it. So here we go. I'm going to switch over to my file here. I've got my logo that they had sent me a long time ago, and I've used it for some other things. And so it wasn't in a vector format. I converted it over to vector and found a close font and played with the shapes of things to get it all to match up. So now I have this in my saved files as a vectorized logo, and if I hover over it, here's all my nodes, and you can see that it is turning red, which means that the Glowforge can read the text. And if I wanted to, something to think about is I could take part of it and turn it a different color. Oops, let me show you actually how to. We're going to grab the whole thing. We're going to go path, break apart, and so that's taking all of these little pieces and breaking them all into different chunks. And so then I'm going to take this chunk of our text, and I'm going to combine it, and I'm going to turn it blue, and I'm going to take all of this chunk of our text, and I'm going to combine it. So it takes it all and puts it all back together. So now we've got the logo, which is in black, and we've got the words that are in blue. The reason I did this is, well, maybe when I'm doing my engraving on the wood here, I might want to have the logo be a different setting than I want the name to be. And so then I can do that because I have two different colors that I'm going to be using. So I'm not quite sure yet if that's what I want to do, but now I have that as an option. So the next part that we're going to do is we're going to measure our business card holders here. I could just slap this into the machine, load in the logo and programs and settings and hit go. But when I'm trying to do something a little more exact or a little more professional, or sometimes even when I'm doing it for the first time, I like to draw a bounding box around it to get an idea of where I'm actually going to be placing it. And so our business card holder here is about 4.34 inches long. So we're going to draw a box. We'll use our box tool over here, and we'll just draw a box here. And it is, what did I say here? Our width is about 4.34, and our height is at 1.62. What in the world? Can you tell that I'm confused here? There's no reason. I wonder if it's because I have so many different overlay programs going here. That's frustrating. Let's try it in here. Huh. Well, we got one side fixed. I don't remember what my measurement now for the other side was. 4 point something. So 4.34. So I don't have any idea what was going on with my keyboard there, but here we go. We have a 4.34 inches wide and a 1.62 inches tall. So I'd just say sometimes things do not go the way that you think that they're going to, and just keep trying. So I just got rid of the fill that was in the box here because we don't need it. We just need an empty box, and I'm going to go ahead and just change the color of our box to be something other than what we're doing. We're going to lock the aspect ratio of the box, and then we're going to we're going to take our logo in and then position it. So I want to make it a lot bigger. I want to try to make it relatively fit here. And then I am going to take these two items and I'm going to group them back together. And then I can draw a box around the whole thing, which chooses everything, or I can do Control A, which also chooses everything, and go over to my Align and Distribute. So something I've noticed sometimes with Inkscape is you don't have your right toolboxes over here, and so you can go to Object and View and Path and Text up here. So there's lots of different options up here. But what we want to be doing is Align and Distribute. So sometimes if you don't have one of those options available over here, you can open it up by just going to it over here, and then it will add it to it. So where you have our Align and Distribute, we're going to select all of it, and then we're going to center and center. And so now it is relatively positioned on our board. And we're going to save it. And this is already vectored, so we know that's good. And then we're going to upload upload it into our file here. So we actually now have a camera on the Glowforge that we're going to be doing. I have the lid open right now because I started the process and then realized that we want to actually have it being
Okay, so I went ahead and removed the crumb tray from inside the bin here, and I put in this tile here, which is one of the ones I use for my replacing the tray. And I hurt my calipers, and we're just going to test what our height is here. And we're at 5. So we're within the 5 and 2.0 for our height. So we'll just go ahead and put our business card holder here in the middle. And I'm going to tape it down to the tile. Move finish to it. Iterations of the machine and the moving. So I'm just going to put our trusty blue painter's tape here and give it a little bit more of a foundation.
So we have our materials in place. Earlier, what you missed or what I paused for was where I was trying to get the laser to recognize the height of the material. So one thing that I've ran into before is this is so close to the 0 line that it isn't focusing on it and not recognizing it. And that same thing happens when we're up to the 0.5 mark is I can never get it to work. So the set focus to work. So I usually just switch over then to doing the material thickness. So I know that my material thickness height is 0.0555 because when we measured the height, it was the 1.5555 above the floor of the bed. So then we have our box here, and we're just going to move it over the top of it. And it looks like we're just a little bit off, but because we have this bounding box, we can focus in on outlining the material here. So now we're going to go ahead and choose what we're working on. A little bit earlier, I took a gander at the medium walnut hardwood just to refresh my memory for what Glowforge says is the suggested setting for walnut, and they just have it as full power with 1000 speed. But I want to have my LPI up here at 270, and then same thing here. So actually, I'm going to go just a little bit softer on my name on the name. I still want the 270 though. And so the logo, actually I'm going to reverse that. The logo we want to be just a little bit softer because when I did the logo before on the walnut proof grade a couple months ago for some awards that we did, if you go too deep on this logo, since it's so fine with the reverse engrave, it's easy for those little pieces to get knocked off. And then we'll go ahead and make the Moscow, Idaho Chamber of Commerce darker. So here we go, and we're going to hit ready. And you'll see it over here on the screen going over. Double checking my height, see if I'm correct. If it agrees with me. It adjusted it a little bit, but it's still within reason for what we need. And it's going to take us just about 5 minutes for this. Okay, so we've got our business card holder here, and we're going to go ahead and peel off our masking tape. Get that all taken off. There's a couple of easy ways to get off masking tape. One of my favorites is just the good old Gorilla Tape here. So we're just going to grab a strip of Gorilla Tape. And try not to have it stick to itself. And then just stick it over the top of your surface and press it down really good. Give it a good rub. And then peel it off. And it pulls away your masking tape. And sometimes it doesn't work so well, but you just kind of go back and forth and dab at it. So that's an option. Another option is your trusty acrylic razor blade, which I didn't know about for a very long time until a fellow Glowforge user sent one in my acrylic order. And it works amazing for acrylic, but it works amazing also for a lot of other things too. So you just take this plastic razor blade, basically, and just scrape it very gently across the top or the surface of what you're trying to remove the masking from. And then, of course, there's the third one for weeding, which is your good old-fashioned fingernails. So for these C's, the C here, this little itty-bitty dainty reverse engraved C, and this little itty-bitty dainty reverse engraved M, we now have a very beautiful Moscow, Idaho Chamber of Commerce business card holder. It's dark, it's elegant, and it looks very professional. It's very nice. So let's get going and test. So the settings for this was just making sure your focus height is correct. And then it's just 1000 speed with 100 or full power, depending on your machine. And then I changed it over. It was at 270 for the LPI. And the LPI actually looks pretty good. You can still see, it's a little fragile inside here in the very deep engrave, where if you scrubbed at it, the little wood splinters will come away. But I don't imagine that many people will be scrubbing at it, and I think you'd have to scrub pretty hard for it to make a difference. This is walnut, and it's dark on all the grains, and you can see some of the grains, but it lines up with what it is supposed to look like. So that's awesome. So moving on to the beech wood that we have loaded. I actually just did a search for Glowforge beech settings. Didn't come up with a whole lot, but one thing that you can do is you can go look at what type of wood that it is you're trying to laser on. So I just did a quick Google search of beech wood hardness and came up with this from this website hardwoodinfo.com, and beech has a hardness of 1300, which is really, really close to red oak. And red oak is one of the items that we have in our proof grade settings. And you can see that black walnut is down here. And so we're going to go over, and we're just going to flip it over to red oak. And we're going to take a gander here to see what they recommend for settings. So on red oak, they also have a 1000 speed and full power. LPI is at 270. Don't worry about the focus height. That's based on the height, the medium thickness of that. So I want to actually also look at HG graphic here, and they have it definitely going a lot slower and lighter with a lot higher LPI. So I'm pretty comfortable with the SD graphic here that we've got. So we're gonna switch over to using uncertified. We're gonna submit it, make sure that we're good, and then we're gonna put in. So I have all these saved settings. So I'll go down here, manual, full power, speed is at 1000, and 270 for my LPI. And then on the Walnut, I had changed it just a little bit, and there isn't actually a too much of a noticeable difference between the lightness. So I'm just going to do the same settings for both of them. So we have our Beech, beautiful here business card holder, and we're going to peel off the masking. It engraved a lot deeper than our Walnut did, and it looks really nice still. I'm going to put my razor blade here, so we're just going to do a quick little over the top, but I want to be really careful around these reverse engraves, just based on previous experience. So I've peeled all the masking off, or most of the masking off here, and I have my trusty brush. I'm just going to give it a quick rub in the reverse engrave groove here, because we definitely have a lot more little delicate fibers going on in the middle than what we did with the Walnut, but it's beautiful. So here is our Beech business card holder. It's gorgeous. It's a little more off on the right here, but it's absolutely beautiful. So I am going to be offering, I have a box of these that I ordered in for testing, so I'm going to test some more with some different logos, and it's one of the items that I'm offering for my local Chamber of Commerce members as a New Year deal. But in the future, one of the things that I have also been working on is doing some buy-ins and providing different materials to fellow laser users from just directly from the factory instead of trying to source through different companies and stuff. So so far I'm very happy with these as a nice put it in engravable blank. Thanks for watching.